Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Enlightenment series here on Facebook and also on YouTube. If this is the first time you have stopped by and you're on Facebook, please go ahead and like the page. Follow the page. We do this program every morning in the 7 o'clock hour. And I'd love for you to continue to get these enlightening messages. If you're on YouTube and you're checking this out for the first time, subscribe. We normally post a video on YouTube the same day that we run it on Facebook, usually sometime in the evening. My son is my video editor, so he typically gets it done after school. My name is Jay Moore, and I am your healthy accountant. And so this week, we've been talking about creation in the beginning. What does it all mean? How did it work? And so we've gone through every day. We've gone through, what God did, how all of it relates to really what we can do in our own life. Just to kind of do a little recap. Day one, we had, this big mass called the earth. It was without form, it was without void. And here it is, God saw something. He had an idea and he followed through with it. Day two, we talked about, how he, created this this atmosphere. It's kind of like the eyes were opening up. First day was something out of nothing. Second day, eyes is opening up. He's creating, something for us to breathe. you know the light is coming, and so he's creating light. Third day, we talked about forming clear views, which, I think that's, forming clear views was about the light, creating the light. And, how everything starts with a beginning. You definitely have to always look at, okay, how does something start? Where do I want to end, and not be all over the place. Let's see, on Thursday, we talked about systems inside of systems. So many things that God creates, there's many systems inside of it. It's just not the physical thing that you're looking at. And so me, we are full of systems. We are full of them. Everything around us is a system. Everything you do is a system. You have a system for doing everything. If you had to think about all the systems that you use in your life, your mind would get kind of boggled up, because we physically can't think that much. And so all these systems working together, and we get to really the point where the foundation, which is today's message, the foundation is set. The foundation is set for something pretty big. And so we're going to go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 20. We're going to read to 23. And it says, the following day, God says, let the bodies of water swarm with all kinds of fish, and let the air be filled with all kinds of birds. And that's what happened. Some of the fish God made were huge, but all the fish were created by him, both big and small, as were all the different kinds of birds. And God was very pleased. Then God blessed the birds and the fish, saying, I'm giving you the ability to reproduce and multiply. So fill the bodies of water with life, and the air with song. And the nighttime and the daytime made up the fifth day. Foundations is set. The foundation is set. So, as I'm talking to you about this foundation, see, when God started what he was doing because he had an idea of something. If you were watching God and you didn't know what he was up to, you wouldn't have known exactly where he wanted to end. But he knew exactly where he wanted to end. But before he could get to the end, he actually had to start. But before he started, he had to see where he was going. And so He had to go through proper steps, creating, think about something. Think about the dry land and the water. Those are some pivotal things that he created, but he couldn't have created the dry land first without basically separating the atmosphere in the very beginning. He had to separate the atmosphere. He had to basically create sky, and he had to create ground. He had to create water. He had to create all things before he had to create light. He had to create, sun and the moon. He had to distinguish, day from night. He had to do all these things before he could start introducing the things that he introduced today. Because right now, today, on day 5, there was nothing in the water. The waters were empty. The grounds are empty. The grounds are just beautiful. I can imagine, if you can just imagine with me right now, if you were walking the earth, if you was with God and you were, walking around with him as he's just taking in the sight. It said God was pleased. Every time he did something, he was pleased. He didn't go to sleep saying, oh man, I messed up today. It's nothing like going to bed knowing that you didn't, man, I didn't finish that. Oh my goodness. God went to sleep, or whatever he did. He ended his day happy. He was pleased at what he had accomplished, and he was going to wait, and then he was going to accomplish more, because he wanted to show us how to start and end the day. Start and end the day with a clear vision of what it is that you want to complete today. How many times have you started the day, you knew you had things to do, but you didn't stay focused? You didn't stay focused on completing the thing that you had to complete. A lot of times we make these long lists, right? Have you ever had a long list of things, 10, 20, 30 things you got to do? Then you look at the list, and I've done this. You look at the list and you say, man, and you look for the easy ones. Let me knock out these easy ones. When really we should look at the list and say, well, certain things you just can't, certain things you just got to just rule out. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. You know what? That's big. I got to accomplish that. Even if it was just one thing on that list that was big enough, that would, it's kind of like, if you got a big goal, that's what you should focus on, not the little baby goals, not the little small goals. It's nothing like speaking to, the business owners, and they have really small goals or none at all. I would say at least 90% of business people that I speak to don't start off with a goal. 90, it's probably over 90% don't have a goal. They don't have a financial goal. They don't know exactly what they want. They don't know exactly who they want to help or serve. And you know what? I get it, right? Because there's been times in my own business where, I didn't know anything about who I wanted to help. I just wanted to help everybody. If you find yourself saying, I just want to help everybody, that's actually not a good place to be. Now, you don't have to take my word for it, because it really doesn't matter. But I will say, you want to know specifically who you want to help. Because if you know specifically who you want to help, when you go and you start marketing or advertising and you say, hey, this advertising is for real estate agents and realtors, do you think a barber is going to be looking at that? Do you think, a doctor is going to be? No, a doctor is going to say, oh, that's for real estate agents. They might be nosy. People get nosy, but when they are not called out, then they just say, forget it. I'm good. I don't have to worry about that. But a lot of times we do things and say, I just want as much of it to happen as possible. How much money do you want? As much as I can. As much as you can? Like, what's the number? If you knew you could have it, what would it be? Well, you know what? Just as much as I can. I don't want to put a number on it. Have you ever found yourself saying, I don't want to put a number on it? I don't want to limit myself, but you're limiting yourself right there. But you don't have to take my word for it. You must have a clear picture. Like, I was reading a book, and they were talking about Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus is the one of the greatest golfers that's ever played. Tiger Woods has been trying to get to Jack Nicklaus's record. Jack Nicklaus said that every shot, every time he picked up his golf club to hit a ball, he took a mental picture as to what he wanted that ball to do. He didn't just come up to it and just kind of hope that it would get down to the green and hope that it would get into the hole. He took a mental picture as to where he wanted this ball to go, how he wanted it to get there, because he knew that if he did this, that it would happen. So he envisioned, he said he did this not just when he was playing in the tournament. He did this when he practiced. Everything was about seeing it first. See, that's what creation is about. It's about God is showing you, you must see what you want first. You must have a really clear picture of it. And I've spoke to you about, on previous broadcasts about, how a house is built. Buildings are built because someone had to see something out of nothing. That's pretty much what this world is. It was nothing. It was without void. It was without form. Nothing was here. But God saw something. He says, man, look at that, look at that planet over there. I can do something with that. It's kind of like, he's got all this, he got this big solar system, all these galaxies, and he says, look at that little planet down there. There's plenty of big ones. He says, look at that little one right there. Man, I got an idea for that one. And he mapped it out. He planned it out. It's like, it's like the architect. They have to draw up the plan. They have to draw it up. Create a model of what it is. Give it to the general contractors so that then they can go and build it. But the general contractors can't build it without being able to see something. If the architect came to them and said, hey, well, this is what I want, and they're like, well, where's the picture? Where's the schematics? Like, where does all the nails go? Like, show me the blueprint. I work off blueprints. But if you got no blueprint, I was sitting here thinking about a blueprint before I turned on the camera this morning. I was thinking about my own blueprint. I said, because man, this creation thing, I'm learning something from it. I'm learning that everything starts with the vision. It starts with laying out your blueprint, knowing where you're headed. You may not be able to do 100% of it as soon as you put the idea on paper. But I said, man, this healthy accountant thing. I said, I've got a blueprint. I've got to get this blueprint into the world. I got to figure this out. Up until this point, I knew that there was a process that I've been going through. I'm not even complete in my journey. There's a process that I've been going through, healthy accountant, that I can share. It's a blueprint. And I've got to be able to basically create all the things that I saw and did so that I can help other people. Maybe it's an accountant that wants to be an accountant. I say, hey, well, do it the healthy accountant way. Maybe it's a real estate agent who would like to have a healthy business. Hey, do it the healthy accountant's way. My way is not going to be like, the other accountant down the street. My way won't be like the other person that's a successful business person. That's why we are all unique. We all have our own way. We all have our own rendition of what it is that we can create and what it is that we can do. That's what God is showing us. He's showing us today that when you set the right foundation, when you do all the steps, then whatever it is that you're doing it for, it would just work and you'll never have to create it again. See, tomorrow when we talk about A Star Is Born, we'll talk about exactly why he went through day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, half of day 6. Why did he do it all? He has not He has not had to come back. He's even, wait a minute, he's even destroyed. He's even destroyed the world before. He's destroyed the earth, flooded it out, got rid of everybody and started over. And it came back. He never had to come and actually go through creation again, because he created a life cycle that it doesn't matter what happens. Nature, nature nature basically runs the earth. You know, when you look at like the wildfires and stuff like that, like out in California, you know, and that's really terrible, you know, what's happening, you know, but that's a part of nature. See, because nature needs to replenish itself. Nature needs to take down so that it can build back up. You know, I was reading something about that, and it really talked about how nature there has to be wildfires. There has to, like, that's something that you can't get around. Now what's happened is we've put ourselves in the way. When you have houses and when you have communities in an area that can easily light, then you put yourself in harm's way of nature. And that's something that it's unfortunate as humans that folks will lose their life, folks will lose their homes, but that's nature's way of 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 purifying an area. But the foundation that God set by doing everything up until this point, you know, the atmosphere, you know, the light, you know, the land and the water, you know, the sun and the moon, dry land. I mean, all of these things, and then the fish and the birds. And this is where, I mean, he already gave grass and trees the ability to reproduce themselves, because they will grow and they will grow and die. They will grow and come back. But back then they probably wouldn't ever have died. But then he created seasons. The seasons dictate when the grass and when the trees lose their luster. You know, we're jumping into winter right now. And by coming into winter, that means all trees lose their leaves. They don't die, they just lose their leaves. So we've got you know, the fish and the birds. We got the fish and the birds here. They are now at the place where they can reproduce themselves. But tomorrow we're going to talk about the star. See, because the star, the main reason why he saw this small planet, he saw it for a reason. But he knew that he had to set the foundations first. He had to create something out of nothing. You know, he had to have a clear view, and you know, he had to have many systems inside of systems to have this foundation, you know, set, so that when the star shows up, the star just comes in and just lives. So guys, that's our enlightenment program today. Foundations is set. This is all about creation this week. You know, you can use creation as a foundation for your life, as a foundation for your business, as a foundation for your family. Everything that you want out of life is embedded into creation. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing tomorrow's message with you. A Star is Born will culminate this series of creation in the beginning. Appreciate you for joining me today. My name is Jay Moore, your healthy accountant. Please like and share, you know, comment, you know, let me know what value you got from this program. And if there's anything that you need in reference to spiritual enlightenment, or if you are in real estate, a real estate agent, a realtor, and you're looking to have a healthy business, definitely reach out. I'd love to connect with you. All right, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.